Welcome, chat. Today is day 9 of trading camp, ladies and gents. And I have a lot in store for you guys today. We're going to be talking about candlesticks and understanding candlesticks and understanding what the candlesticks actually mean, right? So I'm in my bag today. You see I got the hoodie on. If you play ball, you know about, Hoodie Mellow. Well, today, I'm Hoodie Lido for this lesson today, right? Because like I said, I am in my bag, right? So let's go ahead and dive into this. Let me move my face out of the screen, right? Now, let's talk about understanding candlesticks, right? So we have candlesticks. Boom. Candlesticks pretty much will tell us the overall story of price action, right? So when we understand the candlesticks, what the candlesticks are telling us, we can understand like the details of price, right? Like what are the ins and outs of current price, right? So the fundamentals that we want to focus on, right? When we have a candlestick, we have bullish and we have bearish candles, right? So just for example purposes, green is bullish and red is bearish, right? Just regular basic Forex 101, right? So now it's important that we understand these two things, right? So inside of a candlestick, you have these type of things where you have, if I can copy and paste this, actually I'll just draw it. Boom, boom, like such, right? So here, this is the opening price of a bullish candle. This is the closing price of a bullish candle. This is a opening price of a bearish candle. This is the closing price of a bearish candle, right? So in order to have a bearish candle, price must open at the top, right? So open at the high and then close lower than where it opened, right? So since this bearish candle closed beneath its opening price, that's what made it bearish. If this closed above, then this will be green and then this would be a bullish candlestick, right? But since it closed lower than the opening price, it makes it a bearish candle. Now, if the very next candle in price opens at the same price that the bearish candle closed, so this level right here, if it opens here and it closes above this line, then that makes it a bullish candle. If it closes beneath the opening price, then that will make it a bearish candle, right? So pretty self-explanatory, so forth and so on. Now, one thing that you want to focus on and understand, inside of this candlestick, you can have what we call a wick. So a wick just means that during this time, price was fluctuating up to this level right here, but it did not close at this price. So when you think about price, there's always a timer on the side of the overall screen, right? Now, of course, market is closed, so the thing is not on here, but overall, it is a wick when you have, like I said, that fluctuation within that time period. And when price closes when price closes at this level, that is the most important thing. So even if I have a wick and I have that fluctuation, wherever price closes at gives me the details that I need to see. So inside of your trading, you want to understand that you make your decisions based off of the closing prices of candlesticks. You never enter or you never you base your decisions off of the fluctuations, because this could easily fluctuate. Like this candle could start like this and be a bearish candle, and then by the time it closes like this and become a bullish candle. And this would have just meant that it had a wick to the downside because it fluctuated down there, but it did not close at that price, right? So that's one important concept that you want to understand, right? Now, another concept that you want to understand is that inside of these candlesticks here, so inside of these, there are details that are telling us what's happening on other time frames. So let's just equate these candles to daily candles. That means that this candle is one day, this candle is another day. So let's just say that this is Friday and this is Thursday. So that means that during the 24-hour period that the market was open on Thursday, this opened at this price point right here and then closed down here within that 24-hour fluctuation. And then on this Friday, it means that this price opened right here and then closed here within this 24-hour fluctuation of price here, right? So the important thing to understand is that this is one daily candle. So that means that on a smaller time frame, there's a lot more details that's going on inside of this candle. Like there's not just, one solid candle. Like in a daily candle, think about it. If there's 24 hours in one day, that means that there are 24 1-hour candles inside of the daily candle. That means 24 1-hour candles are being printed inside of this one daily candle, right? Simple math, you can apply it to whatever time frame that you're looking at, so forth and so on. Like if you think about it, there's 6 4-hour candles inside of one daily candle because it's 4-hour time frame. So 6 times 4 is 24, so forth and so on, right? Now, think about this. So this, if I see this as a bullish candle on the daily, that means that on my smaller time frames, I had to be pushing up because why? It closed bullish. And I know that if this is just one daily candle, that means that on my 1-hour time frame, my 4-hour time frame, my 30-minute time frame, whatever the case may be, it was pushing up. Point blank period. Because there's no way I can get a daily candle closing bullish if price wasn't pushing up on the smaller time frames. Why? Because the smaller time frames make up the daily candles, right? So if I just take this example here, this last little candle here on gold, if I just highlight this candle in this little box right here, it's going to be hard to get it precise because it's got edges on both sides. But if I go to that 1-hour time frame, look what was happening. Price was pushing down. It was in this little downtrend looking structure, right? So when you see something like a daily candlestick happen on your, like, let's just say you're doing like a top down analysis or whatever case may be, that means that when you go down to your smaller time frames, you're going to see that push up or that push down. In this case, if this is a bullish daily candle, you're going to see price pushing up on the smaller time frames. Just like in this candle, this was a bearish candle, but when we drop down to the 1-hour, price was pushing down. It's like super important that you understand that concept, right? Now, another thing that I want you guys to understand, when you have candles like this that are solid, just 2 solid candles, that means that the momentum is high. Whenever you have like candles that look like this, so a candle that looks like this means that the momentum is low. Why? Because it was indecision. That means that during this time period, this daily time period, price fluctuated up here and then price fluctuated down here. But by the time the timer went off, it closed like this. That means that there were buyers and sellers inside of the market. So if there are buyers and sellers inside of the market, guess what? That sounds like what? Consolidation. Because the market is indecisive. It's going up and it's going down. And it did not close at a solid price point, right? So it's important for you guys to understand, like when you see these type of candles, that means that you in some type of consolidation. When you see this type of candles on a higher time frame, that means you're going up on the lower time frames. You see a bearish candle on a higher time frame, that means you're going down on the smaller time frames, so forth and so on. So me as a trader, when I'm looking at these type of things, I'm looking at the most recent daily candle or most recent 4-hour candle, or even the most recent 1-hour candle, and seeing how it's printed so I can get the details needed so I can make decisions inside of my analysis, right? Now, of course, like, let's just say I look at this candle right here. This candle is telling me that price was going down and then there was some form of rejection. Why? Because we had this wick. So when I drop down to my smaller time frames, guess what? I was in a downtrend. I was pushing down, but guess what? Now I started to pull up a little bit, and that's why you got that wick. So if I was to equate that whole candle, this candle will look like such. It will basically look like this with a wick. Why? Because I had this small little push up. And at the time that this candlestick closed, the market was pushed up. Had these price been down here, then this candle would have been filled like this, right? So it's important to understand, like I said, the candlesticks and understanding the meaning behind them on a higher time frame or a lower time frame, so forth and so on, so that you can make educated decisions inside of price, right? Now, one thing I'm going to give you one thing that I want you guys to understand, right? Me personally, I would never enter a trade that is a fluctuating candle. You always want to enter on the closure of a candle so you can get the concrete data, because nothing, let's just put this in a note, nothing is determined until the candlestick has closed and printed. That is when you get the data. The candlestick is not closed, then you don't have the data. So you don't want to prematurely get yourself faked out by seeing something and then assuming like, oh my gosh, it's going down. There's a huge bearish candle getting printed right now. And then by the time that the timer goes off for that candlestick period, it literally is a bullish candle. And it's like, now you fucked. Like now you are completely disoriented in the market, and your bias is completely different than what it would have been if you would have waited for that overall candlestick to form, right? So it's so, like I said, it's super important to understand that you guys should wait for the candlesticks to close, right? Now, when we think about candlesticks and price action, me personally, I like to enter off of like an engulfing type pattern. So if I see an engulfing type pattern, that's what I like to, that's what I like to enter off of. If price is fluctuating like this and I see a huge candle like this, I'm not necessarily going to enter just yet, because if it closes like this and then goes bearish and then this have a huge wick, I'm no longer interested in that trade, right? So like I said, I like to enter off engulfing candles. Of course, I like to enter on different like candlestick patterns as well. But that is something that I talk about inside of my Blueprint Trading Academy and with my one-on-one students. So just to give you guys just a sneak peek of what I like to enter off of, like I said, I like to enter off of engulfing candles, especially when I have other confluences that go hand in hand. But when I do enter off of bullish engulfing or bearish engulfing, so forth and so on, this is telling me that there are buyers in the market. Why? Because price engulfed this previous candle. So that means that there had to be enough buyers to overtake this candle and engulf it. So when you have engulfing candles, like I said, that just means that there are buyers in the market or there are sellers inside of the market, right? It's kind of like Pac-Man. Like you got the little thing, and then you gobble up the little ghost that's floating around the screen, so forth and so on, right? So it's your job as a trader to identify, what are the candlesticks telling you. When you have candlesticks that's like this, remember that means that we have indecision. When you have full candles like this, that means that their price is pushing up. When you have candlesticks that look like this, as such, that means that at one point in time, price was pushing down for a little bit, but then ultimately ended up closing above, because you were fluctuating. You were bearish at one point in time. Like at one point in time, this was red, and then at the time of the candlestick closed, it closed like this and turned bullish, right? So now let's make this bullish. So that means that at this point you were going down, but by the time the candlestick closed, this ended up pushing bullish. So this is a sign that the market wants to go up. Why? Because you are getting the details of this candle letting you know that there are more buyers inside the market than, there are sellers, right? Of course, there is such a complex thing to candlesticks that I can go like literally hours and hours and hours about candlesticks like all day long. But this is just like, this is the simplicity of it. Like, I don't want to confuse anybody. I don't want to make this harder than what it seems, so forth and so on. Like, this is the most simple way that I can explain it to you guys, right? So definitely take this information and write it down in your notebooks. Hopefully y'all been taking notes. I definitely hope y'all are still tuning in to all of the days, right? One thing I can say is the views have been going down a little bit. That means slowly but surely more people are falling off and off and off. You that's watching this, you don't want to be that person that's falling off. You want to be that person that is steady, locked in. Remember, like we talked about on day one, lock the freak in, chat. Lock in. So be mindful that, like, I don't care if you think like, oh well, I already got what I needed out of the video, so I'm gonna just quit watching. No, more than likely, you're not going. You probably don't have it. Like, let's just be transparent, right? So you have to be a student to the game. Just watch these videos and do yourself a favor and just lock in. Like, lock in, take notes. Don't just watch the video without taking notes, so forth and so on, because you don't want to be that person. Promise you. Like, 2025, you don't let the don't let the same things that happened in 2024, 2023 happen all over again, because you was too egotistical to sit down and watch a 15-minute video, 20-minute video and take notes on it and think that your trading is going to change. It doesn't work like that, right? So that's one thing that, like I said, y'all want to be mindful of. And of course, if you are interested in learning directly from me, the link is in the description for my private waitlist, right? Now, I gave y'all enough with these videos alone that y'all can take the information and do something with it, just like all of the other testimonials that we had leading up to this day. But if you still feel like you need more clarification, like I said, link is in the description. That being said, I'll see y'all for day 10 tomorrow.